What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. Now, it is Wednesday, which means it is time for Marvel Comics. And this week, Marvel has dropped a crap ton of comics on us. We're gonna be starting it off with Marvel Zombies, Black, White, and Blood. This will be issue number 1, and we haven't got a Marvel zombie story in roughly 2 to 3 years. I believe the last story was Marvel Zombies Resurrection. That's not including the animated What If storyline. And with Marvel Zombies making its return, I really had to reflect on everything we've covered on this channel. In the last month, we have broken the threshold of 2,000 videos. This channel has covered roughly 2,000 comics so far. And the Marvel Zombie Resurrection was some of the earliest stuff that we did. It's crazy to see the quality, the quantity, and everything of this channel change over the course of the last couple of years. And to see the growth, it's just truly humbling. I am so absolutely grateful for all of you guys being here. But as we get into this comic, we are getting 3 different stories. A story of Daredevil, of Spider-Man, and of Moon Knight. As we traverse through the undead landscape, we are going to examine each of these characters, where they are, where they're ending up, and if the virus had been able to take them over. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we are picking up with Daredevil. The crowd is cheering his name, the undead Matt Murdock, still very much a living weapon. Daredevil has been captured, and he is now used for entertainment. They put him against the undead, day in and day out, and thus far, he has remained undefeated. When the match ends, they put him in a collar and they throw him into a hole. They give him body parts to feed on, but they keep him feral. They keep him tame, because he is the moneymaker around here. Without Daredevil, they don't have a show. But we also see that Daredevil, while he eats, he gains some sense of morality. That's the thing about Marvel Zombies. They have always been very unique. The more that they eat, the more that hunger is satisfied, the more they become their regular self. It is only when the hunger takes over that they turn into feral monsters. And the more they eat, the more they're able to have cognitive abilities, like speaking, like being able to plan and plot and do everything in between. But as day turns to night, Daredevil reliving every single person that he has murdered, that he has butchered, that he has ripped apart with his bare hands. This is where we have the arrival of the Punisher. You see, Frank Castle had heard that Daredevil was being kept here, and he lets Daredevil know that he can finish it right here and right now. That he can put him out of his misery, or he can turn him into a walking bomb. That way tomorrow, he can take out every single one of those miserable animals that pit him to fight. And so the next day, when they grab Daredevil out, they throw him into that cage. On this day, Daredevil smiles. He looks to what gleaming sunlight may be poking through in this underground hell. He touches the stitches on his neck, and then from the surface, we hear the screams. Frank Castle pressing that button, detonating the bomb, and every single life in there was snuffed out in an instant. This was the end of Daredevil. Now, this is what takes us to our second story. We pick up with the Amazing Spider-Man. In the early days when everything is going sideways, the Daily Bugle completely overrun, and Spider-Man doing everything he can to keep these people alive. That includes Jonah. Amidst all the chaos, Spider-Man is looking for that glistening of hope, that small glimmer that might be out there. Hoping that the Avengers just show up. Some hero, anybody might show up to give him assistance in saving these innocent people. But all he finds is more of the undead. They keep coming and they do not stop. At this point, Spider-Man, he is spent. He is running on instinct, but he knows that he is these people's only chance. He thinks about his Aunt May, about Mary Jane. He can only hope and pray that they are okay, as he fends off this horde with the best of his abilities, using his acrobatics, using his web slinging. He tries the Avengers one more time. He calls to Captain America, to Iron Man, to anybody that might listen, but he only gets static in response. That remainder of hope that he has left in him, it is fleeting. At this point, it might be gone altogether. He turns to Jonah and tells him to get everybody inside, to close up the doors and make sure that you stay away. And Spider-Man jumps into the whole horde of zombies. This is when he hears the voice of Hawkeye, coming in very broken, but letting him know that hope, it is on the way. In that moment, he can feel the tears coming up to his eyes, preparing to fall down his face. He truly believed that this was the end. He believed that there was no coming back from this. But hearing the voice of Hawkeye, this has made him renewed. This gives him the strength to go on. This is when his spider senses go off, reacting on instinct, hitting whatever is behind him. And what is behind him is Aunt May. Aunt May has been turned into a zombie and she is now here to eat on Peter. With Aunt May being a zombie asking, where is Peter? What happened to her nephew? And Spider-Man freezes up. He believes that this has to be a trick of some kind. That maybe someone found out his identity. Maybe they've created an android or a clone. He wants to believe this, but in his heart he knows this is Aunt May. With Peter backing up against the wall, thinking that he can't do this, that he can't fight back. Of all people, he cannot fight his Aunt May. This is when Peter takes off his mask, revealing it to be him. This is when the zombie Aunt May, she kind of calmed down, seeing that this is Peter, asking where she is, and then recognizing what she has become. Seeing the monster that she is, she begs Peter to kill her. This is where Peter Parker snaps her neck, and in all the chaos, Peter looking down at his arm, seeing the wound that he has taken, he now understands that his story is over. With Jonah coming up to Spider-Man trying to get him back into safety, Spider-Man knows that this is the end, and so he turns to Jonah and he tells him to run for his life. With that ending Spider-Man story, we pick up in Chicago, Illinois, 328 days after the zombie outbreak. We have Moon Knight and Khonshu. Moon Knight has been doing everything he can to get the last of the survivors to the safe zones. And Khonshu, he wants to hurry this process up. He wants to get out of this city and be done with it. We are seeing that Khonshu and the Fist of Khonshu, they aren't agreeing on many things, on how to handle this situation. The truth is, Moon Knight does not trust Khonshu. Khonshu has never had the best interest of Moon Knight in mind, but he did promise Moon Knight that he would help him fix this. Before their conversation can get any further, this is when they are attacked. The Hounds of Hell charging directly at Moon Knight, and Khonshu is telling him that something is off. This is where we have the arrival of the zombie Iron Man, telling Moon Knight and Khonshu that they are very difficult to find. Khonshu not as much as Moon Knight, and this comes as a huge shock because Iron Man can now see the gods. He can do this because he is the avatar of Anubis. The time of Osiris has come to an end. The reign of Anubis is now upon them. The way Anubis sees it, this virus is a gift, but he must prevent Moon Knight and Khonshu from interfering in any way, shape, or form. To do this, he uses Iron Man as his new host, an undead host that is more than willing to do his bidding. With Moon Knight and Iron Man beginning to go head to head, Khonshu saying to end this and end it now. With Moon Knight getting a good hit on him, Iron Man decides that he's gonna head down to the people on the ground. After essentially breaking the hands of Moon Knight, he is headed down to the civilians, to the innocent lives that have yet to be turned, and he begins to rip their limbs off. Moon Knight looking like this might be the end. Khonshu asking if you would like my help now. And Moon Knight knows that the virus is spreading through his body, unable to think straight. He knows that he is going to die, but Khonshu offers up his hand, telling him to trust in his guidance. This is where Moon Knight comes flying off of that building and lands directly on Iron Man. Iron Man believing that they are on the same side now, but Anubis lets it be known that you are not. And in fact, this battle is lost, that he will start again, leaving Iron Man to the hands of Moon Knight. Moon Knight absolutely decimates Iron Man. He cracks his bones, he smashes his flesh, and with the death of the zombie Iron Man, Moon Knight fully turned into a zombie at this point, and Khonshu, he uses this to his advantage, allowing Moon Knight to indulge in the alive, in the flesh, and the cannibalism of eating other people. We are seeing that the free will of Moon Knight has essentially been stolen away. Khonshu no longer has to worry about an avatar that may question him, an avatar that won't follow directions, an avatar that will not listen. Khonshu now has a true weapon. He has a monster at his disposal, and he will rebuild Moon Knight in his image. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. So this was a nice little anthology series, and we got 3 more issues coming after this following a whole bunch of individuals, such as a Mad Reed Richards, and then the Unstoppable X-Force. All of this and much more to come. But I have always been a fan of the Marvel Zombies line. This comic is no exception for me. I'm not usually a fan of the whole black and white trend that is currently ongoing, but it is still very much enjoyable. I think at least for this comic, it really is fitting that you can make the black, white, and blood really work in your favor when you have such a gory and absolutely brutal comic. But this also doesn't necessarily specify in what time frame this sets up in, what Earth this is on, so I'm really just taking these as standalone stories, an opportunity for some of these writers and artists to get their hands in the Marvel zombie universe, if you will. But I'm excited to see what is coming next. Hopefully, we can get some more Marvel zombies in here. I don't want it to be oversaturated, but I would definitely like some more stories than, a 4-issue story every 3 years. There's a lot of potential as long as you just don't overdo it. And I think enough time has passed since the original story that we can really come out and start to hugely expand on what we have already expanded on. But let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you would like to get completely caught up on everything that is going on with Marvel Zombies, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It is gonna get you completely caught up on everything going on with this series. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. If you're unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.